Have you seen a TikTok go viral about a fan wanting you to play Zelda in a live-action movie based on what you wore to the Vanity Fair party?
No, I did not.
They were like, cast her right away. Yeah, is that something you'd be interested in or a role you would like to pursue?
I mean, yeah, that would be cool. Like an elf? Yeah. And I mean, I played that video game a bunch when I was a kid. That's such a good game.
If you saw that last clip, you know exactly what's about to happen. The amazing Hunter Shafer was answering questions for Entertainment Weekly and said that she would love to be cast as Princess Zelda in a new adaptation of the video game. Again, just to calm your nerves, nothing has been confirmed right now, Papa. This is just speculation. But having an amazing casting just like this had my brain functioning in random ways, and I figured Zelda needs a TV show. I'm saying a TV show and not a movie because I genuinely think that video games lend themselves to larger and more expansive stories through television. And I know we've already had an adaptation of Link in the past in like the 70s, but that shit was ass. I'm not even gonna go there. If we're going to have Hunter Shafer playing Zelda, we need somebody to play the iconic Link in just the same amount of quality. And that is why, as a fan cast papi, I am going to choose Timothée Chalamet. And you may be wondering, why would the production studio spend so much money on Timothée Chalamet if he's not gonna talk in the film or the show? He's going to. That is the first and only change that we're making from the source material. It is going to be a speaking role for Link. My amazing editor is going to do some voodoo magic right now and show you Link and Timothée Chalamet. Tell me you don't see it. We have our two main characters. Of course, we gotta talk about the villain, Papo. Ganondorf, oh, sweet baby Jesus. This man has me traumatized on every single one of the iterations for Smash. He's one of the most iconic video game villains of all time, and he deserves an iconic actor in order to voice him. I think we might be going full CGI with this one, but I want Sterling K. Brown to be Ganondorf. You could also get Idris Elba, you could also get Benedict Cumberbatch. They need an amazing voice and an outstanding stage presence. I just loved Sterling K. Brown and everything that he does, so that makes sense to me. And now that we have fan casted the three main characters of the series, let's talk about how would this make sense. Let's talk numbers in order to explain why this would actually come to fruition. The most recent major iteration of the game, Zelda Breath of the Wild, is one of the best open world video games or video games period in history. It has sold over 28 million copies as of 2022. Just so you have an idea of how popular this game is, over the past month, it has had over a 51% increase in box sales in the UK. Y mi hermano, we gotta keep in mind, this thing came out in 2017. The sequel is just around the corner. The first entry in the Legend of Zelda series was released over 34 years ago, and for it to have the same amount or even more acclaim now is just super impressive. And ever since 1986, Link has been one of the most iconic characters in gaming lore ever. Fun fact, if you didn't know, the creator of Link is the same one as Mario, Shigeru Miyamoto, and he actually modeled Link's color scheme from Disney's Peter Pan. And another fun fact on top of that is the fact that the series itself, Princess Zelda, the main character of the series, she is named after F. Scott Fitzgerald's wife. Did we just seriously connect The Great Gatsby to Legend of Zelda? I deserve an award. But coming back into the topic at hand, all you need to know is that Legend of Zelda is super popular and really relevant today. As of 2021 and bleeding into 2022, Breath of the Wild is the 4th best-selling game on the Switch, which also makes it the best-selling game in the entire Zelda franchise. Why are we making such a big emphasis on Breath of the Wild? Well, it is the best, in my opinion, open world game ever created on a Nintendo platform. And it might be one of the top 5 open world games ever. Obviously, personal preference takes a role there, but the majestic nature of the entire Zelda mythos is encapsulated perfectly by Breath of the Wild. Platforming, combat, open world, exploration, dungeons, everything is in the game. And I feel like that would translate perfectly into a TV or a movie narrative. You're basically putting an Indiana Jones style explorer in a Lord of the Rings style world. If you've played the video games before, you know exactly why that makes sense. I mean, considering that the theme song was inspired by Indiana Jones, it just falls off the tree. So the numbers are there, the popularity is there, and the actual structure for the series would also make sense. And considering that the game is in the top 30 most played games for all gamers across the entire world, it would bring a lot of viewers into the project. The only issue that I find is obviously adapting which one of the timelines. If you're new to the franchise's history, mi hermano, you should know that it has a complicated history of having an overblown story. We go to the present, to the past, to the future, to alternate worlds, alternate dimensions where Ganon wins, Zelda loses, Link wins. It's absolutely bonkers. So considering the most recent success of the franchise, I feel like adapting Breath of the Wild into a series would make sense. The sequel to the game has been delayed until 2023, so that'll give us enough time to set up a cohesive story for the adaptation of Breath of the Wild and then link it to the expansion once the sequel decides to come out. In doing so, you'll have people playing the game and also enjoying the series and trying to see the tie-ins that come along the way. The other possible option that I see is trying to adapt the two other most important games in the franchise, which are Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask and Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. I would be willing to say if you take 10 gamers of any age across the entire world, one of them or at least 3 of them will mention Ocarina of Time in their top 5 games of all time. With that being said, the most played Zelda game aside aside from Breath of the Wild, is Majora's Mask. If my stats don't betray me while I'm looking at them here, around 27% of all gamers have played this game. Every single major Nintendo console has had a Zelda game, and going into the future, this would be a great transition to go from the TV screen to the gaming sphere. We've covered the fan casting, we've covered the numbers, we've covered the logic behind the games, but why does this make sense now? Well, if you've been paying attention, over the past couple of years, there's been a renaissance in video game storytelling in the movies and TV shows. We've had the Halo TV show, which is but it's still there. We have Sonic 1, Sonic 2. There's a Resident Evil series coming out on Netflix. There's a Last of Us series coming out on HBO Max. And we've already had a ton of announcements around Twisted Metal and even God of War getting a TV show soon. So it makes sense that one of Nintendo's greatest assets gets shown on the TV screen or in the movies. Tim Miller, who is the director and writer of the Sonic movies, has recently said that he would love to adapt a Smash-style video game franchise. And of course, we can't forget the most famous video game character of all time, Mario, is getting his own adaptation with Chris Pratt voicing him. So we already have a precedent for Nintendo setting up their projects into a larger, greater world. Then you also have to keep in mind that Detective Pikachu was also a financial and critical success. Everything is relative considering that video game movies tend to fail, but so far there is a lot of hope for the foreseeable future. I think it's also worth to mention the grander vision for one of the most successful recent video game adaptations of all time, which is Sonic. Tim Miller, which was in charge of the project, has said that he would love to create a larger world to try to adapt Smash, aka one of the top 5 best fighting games of all time, which is centered around Nintendo's characters. Pokemon, Mario, Sonic, Zelda, Kirby, every single major franchise has a home in Smash, or at least the ones that apply to a grander family audience. And he has publicly stated that once the actual individual worlds have their own solo movies, for example, Mario, Sonic, and then eventually Kirby and Zelda, we could have an Avengers-style team-up that brings them all into the arena to fight in Smash. So whether it be live action or animated, I think the Zelda series makes sense. But again, that's just me, a hopeful gamer. Are you ecstatic? Are you disgusted? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. And of course, thank you so much for supporting my second channel, Tropical Joe Gaming. I started this channel with the idea of covering all of the most important news and gameplay for the gaming sphere. So let me know what video game news or projects you would like me to cover on this channel, and I'll give them to you. Of course, the only thing you have to do in order to keep along with my journey is to follow and hit that notification bell icon so you can get instant notice for whenever I post a video. I'll be posting gameplay, reviews, reactions, everything is going to be on this hub. But if you want to see my full streams, I also have Tropical Joe VODs, which will host all of the streams that I do on my main page, and I'll just put them over there. They will live on forever for your enjoyment. Again, mi familia, thank you so much for supporting this wild ride. I have never been more happy to cover the things that I've loved since I was a kid, and Tropical Joe Gaming is what I'm going to do for the foreseeable future. So as always, mi familia, hermanos y hermanas, make sure to crack a smile, just ride the wave, and I'll see you on the next one. Blow!